Think B-movies are just cheap trash? Think again. Some of the wildest, weirdest, and most addictive films ever made never had a big budget, just guts, grind, and pure passion. What if I told you one B-movie on this list inspired a Hollywood legend, another changed censorship laws, and a few will leave your jaw on the floor? Ready to dig in? 1. The Brain That Wouldn't Die, 1962. If you love mad science gone rogue, this one's an absolute fever dream. A surgeon obsessed with his fiance's beauty loses her in a car crash, except for her head, which he keeps alive on a pan of chemicals. That's right, a talking, plotting, deeply bitter severed head, surrounded by mutant horrors in the basement. Shot on a shoestring budget and shelved for years, The Brain That Wouldn't Die oozes every kind of 1960s B-movie cheese, dodgy sets, over-the-top performances, and a monster locked behind a door marked "Danger, Keep Out." The director's only goal? To gross people out and maybe land a studio gig. Didn't work until drive-ins made it a late-night legend. What makes it worth your time isn't just the wild premise. It's how gleefully the film goes for broke. The lead actress, Virginia Leith, delivered all her lines while sticking her head through a table, staying absolutely still for hours at a time. And that creature reveal at the end? Pure nightmare fuel. Critics dismissed it, but midnight audiences howled with laughter and fear. Exactly what a B-movie should deliver. Second Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, 1978. Let's get something straight. This movie is exactly as ridiculous as the title promises, and somehow, it's glorious. In a world where tomatoes turn into bloodthirsty monsters and terrorize the suburbs, a ragtag team must save humanity, armed with little more than salad tongs and slapstick gags. The production? Chaotic from day one. They shot on borrowed locations, actors wore fruit costumes, and the giant tomato props were just painted beach balls. It was meant as a joke, making fun of 1950s creature features, yet it accidentally became a pop culture phenomenon, spawning sequels, a Saturday morning cartoon, and even a video game. The theme song is infamously catchy, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. And there's a running gag about government cover-ups that feels bizarrely relevant now. Critics at first panned it, but the cult crowd latched on, and the movie kept selling out midnight screenings. Fun fact, George Clooney's first major movie role was in the sequel. This is B-movie madness at its silliest, and somehow, its most lovable. Plan 9 from Outer Space, 1959. Is it the worst movie ever made, or a cosmic masterpiece of bad cinema? Plan 9 is where B-movie legend Ed Wood goes all in, flying saucers on strings, cardboard gravestones, and dialogue that would confuse even a robot. The plot? Aliens reanimate the dead to stop humanity from inventing a doomsday weapon. Filmed with almost no budget and after the death of Bela Lugosi, whose scenes were replaced by a much taller stand-in holding a cape over his face, it's every bit the disaster you've heard, and it's also never boring. It's so bad it's hypnotic. Continuity errors galore, day turning into night mid-scene, and actors desperately trying not to laugh. Here's the kicker. Decades later, Plan 9 became the ultimate midnight movie. Directors like Tim Burton and John Waters openly praised its outsider charm. Fans gather to quote lines and cheer every botched special effect. Ed Wood, once ridiculed, is now seen as the poet laureate of B-movie dreams. Fourth Basket Case, 1982. What's in the basket? That's the question that kept VHS rental clerks in business through the 80s. Basket Case is the story of Dwayne Bradley and his grotesque telepathic once conjoined twin Belial. They're in New York seeking revenge on the doctors who separated them, and Belial's not happy. Filmed for less than $35,000, writer-director Frank Henenlotter used every guerrilla trick in the book, shooting without permits, using real hotel rooms, and casting actual city weirdos as extras. The stop-motion effects are rough, the gore is goopy, but the heart, twisted as it is all there. The movie's blend of humor, horror, and sleaze earned it instant cult status. Fans couldn't get enough of Belial's guttural shrieks and the surreal stop-motion rampages. To this day, Basket Case is one of the most beloved horror B-movies ever. Even Martin Scorsese called it a genuine work of art. Who saw that coming? 5. The Stuff, 1985. You scream, I scream, we all scream. For killer dessert? The Stuff is a pitch-black satire disguised as a monster movie, where a mysterious, addictive white goo bubbling out of the ground becomes America's favorite treat. But the stuff eats you from the inside out, and the more you want, the more you lose control. Director Larry Cohen shot on location in real supermarkets, roped in veteran actors like Michael Moriarty and Paul Sorvino, and made the most out of a silly premise. Special effects teams use fire extinguishers, whipped cream, and even exploding mattresses to simulate the titular stuff attacking its victims. Cohen claimed he was lampooning consumer culture and junk food addiction, but audiences just loved the spectacle. Possessed people, gooey meltdowns, and a corporate conspiracy straight out of the Reagan era. Critics didn't know what to make of it, but the stuff keeps getting rediscovered by new generations. Trust us. Once you've seen the stuff crawl out of someone's mouth, you'll never look at dessert the same way. 6. Troll 2, 1990. How does a movie with no trolls, terrible costumes, and wooden acting become one of the most beloved B-movies of all time? Troll 2 is infamous for being so bad. It's almost an art form. The plot. A family vacations in the town of Nilbog, read it backward, only to be attacked by vegetarian goblins who turn people into plants before eating them. The dialogue is jaw-droppingly weird, you can't piss on hospitality, and the special effects are basically green jello smeared on extras. The Italian director spoke little English, the cast was mostly locals, and the script makes less sense with every viewing. And yet, here's the twist. Fans are obsessed. Midnight screenings sell out. There's a documentary, Best Worst Movie. Cast members tour the world. Why? Because every second is fueled by pure earnestness. Nobody's winking at the camera. Troll 2 is the ultimate so bad it's good ride, and you'll laugh, scream, and quote it for years. 7. Robot Monster, 1953. Welcome to the dawn of 3D cinema, where the villain is a guy in a gorilla suit with a space helmet taped on. Robot Monster is pure sci-fi lunacy. Earth has been wiped out by the Ro-Man, and the last survivors must dodge his slow-motion rampages and awkward philosophical rants. Filmed in just 4 days in Bronson Canyon, Los Angeles, the movie's futuristic ray guns were borrowed bubble machines, and the cast often tripped over the desert rocks. Yet, director Phil Tucker was convinced he was making the next War of the Worlds. He even staged a press conference to explain the plot, which, honestly, no one could follow. Here's the shocker. Robot Monster made its budget back 10 times over and became a legend of drive-in culture. George Lucas and Steven Spielberg both admitted it inspired them, not because of its quality, but its sheer reckless ambition. Sometimes, so dumb it's brilliant is the way to go. Eighth Night of the Creeps, 1986. Alien slugs, zombie sorority girls, and Tom Atkins with a shotgun. If that doesn't sound fun, check your pulse. Night of the Creeps is the ultimate 1980s B-horror mashup. It starts with aliens dumping a canister on Earth in the 50s and jumps to college in the 80s, where brain-controlling slugs start turning students into flesh-hungry ghouls. Writer-director Fred Decker packed the script with references to his horror idols, Carpenter, Romero, Hooper, and the film jumps from parody to genuine scares on a dime. The effects are gloriously messy, the humor is razor-sharp, and Tom Atkins steals every scene with his deadpan delivery. Thrill me. The studio botched the marketing, so the movie bombed on release. But home video resurrected it, and today, Night of the Creeps is beloved by genre fans everywhere. Want to see pure midnight movie joy? This is it. 9. Death Race 2000, 1975. Long before The Hunger Games or Mad Max, there was Death Race 2000, a dystopian racing movie produced by B-movie king Roger Corman. The plot. In a future America, drivers race cross-country, mowing down pedestrians for points. David Carradine stars as Frankenstein, a masked anti-hero, and a young Sylvester Stallone chews the scenery as his psychotic rival. Corman gave director Paul Bartel $300,000, cardboard sets, and full creative freedom. The result? Wacky stunts, wild costumes, and enough satire to get the film banned in some countries. The stunts were so dangerous, 2 actors were nearly run over during filming. What made Death Race 2000 legendary was its sly commentary on violence as entertainment and its over-the-top comic book energy. The movie was a box office hit, spawned remakes, and still feels shockingly relevant. If you want a B-movie with bite, buckle up. 10. Black Dynamite, 2009. How do you make a new B-movie feel instantly classic? Black Dynamite nails it. This loving spoof of 1970s blaxploitation, Flicks follows ex-CIA agent Black Dynamite as he cleans up the mean streets, armed with kung fu, groovy one-liners, and a bottomless supply of attitude. Director Scott Sanders shot on vintage film stock, used period costumes, and even deliberately included mistakes. Boom mics in frame, continuity errors, clumsy edits. Michael Jai White plays the hero with deadpan perfection, delivering lines like, "I threw that before I came in the room," with full conviction. Black Dynamite was a festival hit, became a cult favorite, and spun off an animated series. Fans and critics agree, it's one of the smartest, funniest tributes to B-movie glory ever made. 11. The Toxic Avenger, 1984. If you've ever seen a mop-wielding mutant fighting crime in a tutu, you already know. The Toxic Avenger is pure trauma mayhem. Melvin is a bully janitor who falls into a vat of toxic waste and transforms into Traumaville's grotesque superhero. Shot for peanuts by Lloyd Kaufman and Michael Hertz, the film mixed gory effects with slapstick comedy, bad taste gags, and just enough heart to keep you rooting for Toxie. Audiences were both horrified and delighted. At one screening, viewers walked out in protest. At another, they gave a standing ovation. It was banned in several countries, trashed by mainstream critics, but became a monster hit on video. It inspired sequels, a cartoon series, comic books, and even a Broadway musical. For anyone who loves the wildest side of B-cinema, The Toxic Avenger is must-see mutation. 12. Miami Connection, 1987, ninjas on motorcycles, synth rock ballads, a martial arts rock band called Dragon Sound. Miami Connection is what happens when a group of Taekwondo enthusiasts decide to make their own action movie. And somehow, it's incredible. Writer-director-star Y.K. Kim spent his life savings, shot guerrilla style around Orlando, and cast his students as heroes. The plot? Drug-dealing ninja bikers threaten Miami, and only Dragon Sound can stop them using the power of friendship and roundhouse kicks. Released in a handful of Florida theaters, it flopped hard and disappeared until a print surfaced on eBay and Alamo Drafthouse programmers rediscovered it. Suddenly, Miami Connection was the hottest midnight movie in America, selling out screenings coast to coast. The acting is earnest, the music is catchy, and the fights are as goofy as they are charming. This is pure outsider art, and it will put a smile on your face. That's 12 B movies that prove budget isn't everything. Passion, guts, and pure weirdness can make movie magic. But I know this list is just the beginning. Which B-movie masterpiece did we miss? Drop your favorites in the comments, bonus points for the weirdest title. And here's the real debate. Are so bad they're good movies just as important as Oscar winners? Or should we finally draw a line in the popcorn? Let's see who dares to defend their favorites. Until next time, keep digging for those hidden gems.